Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to my sketchbook. Just yesterday evening, I dropped into a local Burger King to get their new Halloween crown. Now, it's kind of a neat thing, I guess. If you've seen any of my other videos, let's say like the How to Train Your Dragon video, or videos, I suppose, you'd know that I have like a few of these sort of silly things around my place, including, let's see here, this, which is a Burger King mask. I mean, how cool is that thing? What was interesting about my little quick trip to Burger King was there was this nice lady there whose name was Rebecca, who had a LaBuBu on her purse, and I just asked her a couple of questions about, like, what is this thing? Where did you get it? That kind of stuff. And she talked about LaBuBu being female and has a boyfriend named Taikoko. This is news to me. I didn't really do that much research when I drew this picture. I knew that it was created by Kasing, a Hong Kong-based or born artist, but who grew up in the Netherlands, that sort of thing. So that's kind of interesting. But it also reminded me that I drew this picture and that I was going to do kind of like a follow-up on LaBuBu. So I'm going to flip this page over. And here's the idea that I have in my head. I'm sure this exists out there somewhere, but I guess we'll find out what falls out of my head. So I'm going to use my pen here to pin it down on the paper. We're going to zoom in here first. The concept that I have floating around in my head just about little LaBuBu is what if LaBuBu goes to the hospital to get a checkup and that sort of thing and might need an x-ray. So this is going to be an x-ray of LaBuBu. Now, as I said, I think there is something that may already exist. I think I saw something that had like I think they call it a half bones sculpture. Anyway, I didn't dwell too long on that because I'm going to do my own thing anyway. So I'm going to assume certain anatomical features are much like humans, even though this is like an elf-like creature. It's going to be kind of similar to what I drew the last time, but really this is just going to be skeletal, as we would say, I suppose. So the teeth, I don't know what to make of the teeth. They're not really incisors. They're more like canine teeth. So those little pointy teeth that, vampires would have, but a whole mouthful of them. So let's see what we can do with that. Oh, by the way, anytime you hear me talking about Burger King, it's just because it's fun to visit every so often. I'm not sponsored by Burger King. If they want to sponsor me, that's cool. But beyond that, yeah, I'm not sponsored by Burger King. Anyway, so these seem to be more like canine teeth all the way across. I don't know if the upper part, including the palate here, is a flexible thing. I know it's a cartoon character. Like, yeah, to have teeth that go all the way out here, and this is where roughly your cheeks would be here, I would think. So, I don't know. I am just playing around with the concept of this. But yes, I did not know that there was a fun character named Taikoko. That's interesting. Now, how's that zooming in? Reasonable. So, in regards to Rebecca, that's the name of the person. Anyway, she seemed to know a bit about them. basically said that the one that she had was just like a regular one. I don't really know much about the super rare stuff. So beyond that, they are kind of interesting. I think the premise of what you're supposed to get from the character is to make the world a better place. But to be a little bit mischievous, I guess, once in a while is still kind of fun. So I have to assume that, you know, any negativity that's associated with LaBuBu is probably some kind of like strange jealousy of sorts, or just some people don't really want other people to have success for some reason. So it could be that. Um, they are kind of spooky though, but spooky in a kind of a fun way. Now, it's been a while since I've had an X-ray. I had an MRI a long time ago, and that is an interesting process. You're inside a machine that whirls and they tell you not to move, and sometimes when I'm nervous, I like to joke around a little bit, so they're not usually into that kind of stuff, though. Hospitals are interesting places to go to. Most often I go when there's something kind of serious going on. But you should go. Generally, they know better than you and just plain Googling stuff. But it's one of the few things or practices, and I guess that is the key word, is that it is a practice. You know, they like medical sort of advancements change a lot. They advance a lot, and sometimes they might step back a little bit, and other times they are, well, they are the standard thing. Sometimes they know better. Sometimes they kind of have to guess, but it's an educated guess, and that's why you kind of go to the hospital. So right now I'm just drawing the rib cage. See if I can figure out something. They are kind of a tiny bodied creature too. This little elf creature. I'm going to give it sort of comparable rib spacing to human beings. Now, you may have heard me say this in regards to magical creatures. I like to sort of think of them as the possibility of humans in a different form, or something kind of like humans in a different form. So, you know, some people will talk about angels or creatures like that. But I wonder about the truth in, you know, the stories that we were told as we grew up, how close they were to reality. Let's bring in the collarbone here on each side. Got short arms. The short little humerus. Put the scapula back there. I'm assuming that they have two bones in their forearm, just like us. So you probably know this already. Off your thumb, that's the radial bone. Off the pinky, that's the ulna. You have two bones there, just kind of flipping around. go with a little tiny wrist. This is the dorsal part of the hand. Little tiny fingers. Little tiny. Oh yeah. Okay, now what to do with this arm? Draw the humors here. So I don't know how many of you are involved and drawing along with InkTober. Today is the 5th day of InkTober, so that's kind of fun. The prompt for the day was deer, where I drew like I drew Yoshi. Let's see here. This is going to be awkward because there's only 3 fingers. I mean, how do you do a peace sign? Well, you know what? You just do a peace sign, I guess. Okay. Little LaBuBu. I'll have to figure out a little bit more of what goes on because I've only seen short little animations of LaBuBu. I don't know if there's like a whole series of that kind of stuff. Next, let's go with the back end of the spinal cord here. And there's a couple little floating ribs back here. From my recollection, there's like 12 ribs on each side, some that they call true ribs. But I guess, I don't know, this is going to sound gross, but if you eat ribs, I'm not always a fan of eating stuff off the bone, by the way. Anyway, cartilage kind of makes up the good chunk of what makes ribs the ribs. You need flexibility. When I was a kid, and by kid I mean like somewhere around 16, I got hit by a car while crossing a crosswalk. And the person who hit me started crying because I rolled up over the engine bonnet. Anyway, I felt so bad for them that I just went, oh yeah, no big deal. I'm all right. And I kind of rolled away a little bit. I had a skateboard. I actually was walking too. That's the other thing. I wasn't riding the skateboard. Anyway, she felt so bad. I made like it was no big deal. And anyway, I broke a couple of ribs. It hurt a lot. Anyway, so breathing for a little while caused me a little bit of pain. Hooray! Again, we're going with a simple sort of drawing here. Put in the heel. Just going to move this up just a little bit. It's kind of fun to just sort of sit down, doodle out something, and just try to figure out parts of its anatomy. I'll probably have to try to find a LaBuBu to just kind of get a look at, because I wasn't going to ask this stranger if I could borrow their LaBuBu for, I don't know, just to check it out. I just sort of pointed at it and we talked about it while I was waiting on getting my cool new crown and a whopper. So let's see what we got going on here. 15 minutes, 15 and a half minutes so far. Okay. Of course, there's no timer with this. Got our little LaBuBu pretty much done. I'm just doing kind of a little bit of an outlining. For our X-ray, the patella, the kneecap down there. Make sure the pelvis is kind of semi-heart shaped. Go back here under the rib cage. So if you haven't been here before, feel free to go back and look through some of my other videos, including a retrospective on InkTober from previous years, which I just kind of did a look back. There's a playlist for those specifically. And of course, there's some really terrible drawings, but at the same time, they're fun drawings because I really do think that when you sit down with a sketchbook, it's fun to make mistakes and learn as you go and try to figure things out. And sometimes you put like a lot of time into things and sometimes you don't. But I think that's kind of the point of your sketchbook. It's okay that it doesn't look professional because it's a scrapbook. It's a journal. It's a place for your silly ideas. It's a place where you can draw LaBuBu just for fun. And some people may not like it. That's fine. Some people may love it. That's fine too. But I think, you know, a lot of the times when you're drawing, if you're not drawing for like a commission sake, let's say, you're doing it to kind of have fun, maybe to learn a little bit about something. I think I did a video a little while ago where I showed you kind of a reproduction of Leonardo, well, one of his codex, you know, one of his sketchbooks, and how something like that is so important to look at, because sometimes you get a breakdown of how the mind works. So I had something that was pointed out to me. For the most part, I'm pretty well over it, but it is just funny because, I mean, I ramble off the top of my head. There's no script with whatever I'm saying here. Where Alex, and oh, by the way, you can find him in my subscriber list. He does some pretty awesome artwork. Anyway, where I said something about, you know, memorizing my times tables, and I said 1 + 1 is 1 and 2 + 2 is 2. Of course, that just rattled off the top of my head. Sounds like a terrible memory. Maybe it was, but really 2 × 2. Anyway, that's 4. Maybe I said in my mind 2 + 2, 2 × 2, 2 × 1. Anyway, like I said, I'll get over that. But so yeah, you can find in my videos, I'm just going to ramble on about stuff, and I might not know about something, or I might know about something. That's fine. So right now, just finishing off the outlining of a little LaBuBu. X-ray. I'll even write that here. I'll just say X-ray. So yes, I encourage you to pick up a pen. Find a bit of paper, even if it's a scrap paper, if it's a napkin. I doodle on napkins. Yeah, just draw. Have fun. Because it's important, I think, to create something, learn about something, at least I think so. It's okay if it's not finished. It doesn't have to be. Let me see here. I do believe today is also Abbie's birthday. Happy birthday, Abbie. I do get to talk to your dad, Josh, every once in a while. I miss seeing your little brother laughing, doing stuff. He's a zany guy. But your 9th birthday, this is a big deal. So happy birthday, Abbie. Let's see here. Doodly doo doo doo. What else can I sort of play around with this thing? I think that's kind of it. I don't think I need to go any further than that, although I can if I feel like it. I'm going up here for a moment because I want to try to figure out something with these teeth. So I'm just going to kind of draw a tooth, kind of a close-up. Now I kind of have to assume, and assuming is a terrible thing, but it's fun because you have whatever you have in your head right now as knowledge, and that knowledge can lead to different kind of conclusions. So if this is a canine tooth in LaBuBu's mouth, how sharp is it? Is it necessary to be sharp? Is there kind of like an enamel on this tooth? Now, I guess we could assume that there's, and again, assuming, if the creature is not really perfectly magical, there must be some part of the physicality of the tooth that would be comparable to human beings. So how it's mounted through the gums and into the bottom part of the skull would be, I would think, somewhat similar. Maybe there'd be nerve endings. I don't know. But I like to think about this kind of stuff every so often. And if anyone knows in the comments, please go to the comments, I should say. How old is LaBuBu supposed to be? You know, is LaBuBu ancient? These things I don't know. I've been to the website, but it just talks about, you know, it being created by this Kasing lung. So I don't really know. I'm going to say that, well, there's kind of like 4 main types of teeth. There's like incisors, canine, premolar, and molars. Maybe this one is a, I don't know, it's an incisor, but it's chipped to look like a canine. I'm going to say 1. One of 8. And I'll say top row. And maybe we'll say canines. This is just me in my sketchbook collecting information. You know, it doesn't have to be this way, but we could say that this is the enamel. This is the root. Just like that. And up here, ooh, nerves. Well, I think that's it. I don't think I need to go any further than that for the day. A little less than 30 minutes to just sort of play around with something kind of silly. Again, I invite you to play around with your sketchbook. Get involved with InkTober. Pick up a pen. And not take it so serious, but have some serious fun, because art should be that way for the most part. It should just be kind of a fun thing to do. So, all right, folks, I hope you have a wonderful day. Come back tomorrow. We'll have another InkTober drawing for Monday morning. And yeah, that's it. All right, folks, ciao for now.